Imagine it's a Saturday night in the early 1930s. Your family sits together in a small, dimly lit living room. There's no TV, no smartphone, not even a spare coin for a movie ticket. Outside, every fourth house on your street is filled with worry because 1 in 4 people around you is out of work. That was daily life during the Great Depression. Money for fun? Almost unheard of. But even in those toughest times, Americans didn't lose their spirit. Instead, they became incredibly creative, finding new ways to laugh, connect, and share hope, often without spending a single cent. Today, let's step into their world and see how ordinary Americans turned hard times into unforgettable moments of happiness and resilience. Can you picture yourself in their shoes? Let's find out. Historical context and preview. With jobs gone and worries mounting, family budgets for fun all but disappeared. Entertainment might sound like a luxury, but it became key to survival. Keeping minds off trouble and hearts full of hope was necessary. Across the country, people discovered joy on front porches, through crackling radio speakers, in city parks, and inside quiet libraries. Community-based entertainment. During the Great Depression, a community was one of the most vital things you needed to survive, both physically and psychologically. With little to no access to external entertainment, people relied on their families and neighbors to keep themselves amused during all those years of great difficulty. On warm evenings, you could hear laughter and stories drifting from front porches. Picture families swinging gently, neighbors gathering, telling stories that sometimes grew taller with every retelling. There were moments when burdens seemed lighter. Music was another gift brought to every doorstep. And this might not be too shocking, because music has always been a part of human societies, no matter how primitive or advanced. Whether people are in poverty or living in luxury, music always finds its way into their lives. Walk down any street and you would have stumbled on a sing-along, everyone clapping and belting out familiar tunes. Sometimes someone strummed a guitar, sometimes voices rang out a cappella. The point was just amusement and joy. And the same rough amusement was found in daytime sports played by kids and young adults. Empty lots with the sound of makeshift baseball games, the sharp crack of a homemade bat, cheers echoed through the neighborhood, dust swirling as children slid into home base. Parks became centers for simple picnics. Groups relaxed under trees and sometimes caught a local band playing for free in a wooden pavilion, the music often blending with the rustle of leaves. On street corners, spontaneous performers delivered songs, magic tricks, or silly dances for anyone passing by.
They used to tell me I was building a dream.
Coins were appreciated but not required, as applause and grins were rewards enough. Every moment of fun was shared. It was a bright spot on days that were often gray. Transition to radio entertainment. But as the sun set, the hum of the city quieted. In the evenings, one of the earliest electronic devices showed its magic, the radio. By the early 1930s, the radio had become a central part of many households. Despite economic challenges, around 60% of homes had one by 1932. More than just a piece of technology, the radio provided entertainment, news, and a way for families to spend time together. People often gathered around to listen to comedy shows, dramatic stories, and important news updates. These broadcasts offered a sense of connection and relief during difficult times. Some neighbors would join in, turning it into a shared community experience. There was a wide range of programming to enjoy, something for everyone. And even though it was free to listen, those radio evenings created lasting memories and brought comfort during uncertain days. Entertainment also extended beyond the radio. Families often found creative ways to enjoy time together, making the most out of simple pleasures and limited resources. Board games. With limited options for going out, families often turned to board games for entertainment. These games were simple, but they provided hours of fun and helped bring people together. Some games were bought, but many were homemade using cardboard, buttons, or bottle caps.
Monopoly creates a very false sense of, well, we all started off equally.
Families reused what they had, showing resourcefulness and creativity. Classic games like checkers, dominoes, and card games became staples in households across the country. Monopoly, first published during the Depression, quickly gained popularity as a way to escape reality for a little while. Even though players were using pretend money, it allowed them to dream of owning property and finding financial success. Card games, in particular, were a favorite. One deck could last for years, and the variety of games it offered, like Rummy, Crazy Eights, or Bridge, meant people rarely got bored. Families would often gather around the kitchen table for friendly tournaments. While prizes were small, maybe a sweet treat or the right to pick the next game, the real reward was the time spent together. Local talent performances. Outside the home, neighborhoods found their own ways to stay entertained without spending money. Local talent shows became a popular form of community gathering. These events didn't require a formal stage or special equipment. People used living rooms, porches, backyards, or community halls, any space that could hold a small crowd. Children and adults alike joined in, performing songs, short plays, skits, magic tricks, or poetry readings. Sometimes neighbors dressed up in homemade costumes or created simple props to add to the fun. The audience was made up of friends, family, and community members who clapped and cheered just as if they were attending a professional show. These events allowed people to express themselves, support one another, and enjoy a break from daily struggles. In rural areas, barn dances or small social gatherings were also common. A single musician playing the fiddle or accordion was enough to get people dancing. Community halls and schools were often used for social nights, where everyone brought a little food to share and joined in for games, storytelling, or music. The Federal Theater Project, which ran from 1935 to 1939 and gave jobs to over 12,000 people, including actors, writers, and stage workers. It put on more than 1,200 plays and reached around 30 million Americans. Many people saw live theater for the first time. The shows were free or low cost and included both classic plays and stories about current events. The project helped make theater more available to everyone, not just those who could afford it. It gave young artists like Orson Welles and Arthur Miller a chance to start their careers during a very difficult time.
Actors, singers, and dancers performed shows all across America, providing a much-needed escape.
These events helped maintain social bonds and provided much-needed emotional support. Public libraries. Public libraries played an important role during the Great Depression. With so few affordable entertainment options, more people turned to books for education and escape. Library visits increased dramatically during the 1930s. Reading was free, and libraries offered a warm, quiet space where people could spend time without spending money. Books allowed readers to explore new worlds, learn new skills, and stay hopeful. Fiction offered an escape, while nonfiction provided practical information on topics like gardening, home repairs, and cooking on a budget, skills that were especially valuable during tough economic times. The Pack Horse Library Project ran from 1935 to 1943 in rural Kentucky. It gave jobs to about 200 people, mostly women, who delivered books on horseback to around 100,000 people in remote areas. Riders often traveled 100 to 120 miles each week through rough terrain and bad weather. The books were donated and shared to help spread reading and learning.
On horseback. After all, about 63% of the residents of Kentucky were without access to public libraries.
Libraries also became community hubs. Many offered reading clubs, discussion groups, or free public talks. Some even hosted events for children, giving them a place to gather, learn, and socialize in a safe environment. Psychological survival mechanisms. These simple activities gave people more than just something to do. They helped them feel better inside. Playing games, performing for neighbors, or reading at the library gave people a break from their worries. It brought joy, routine, and something to look forward to. Laughter and time with others helped ease the sadness and stress. Quiet time with a book gave space to dream and think about better days. Quiet time with a book gave space to dream and think about better days. These moments made people feel less alone. Even with little money, they found comfort and hope. It showed that people can still feel strong and connected, even when life is hard. Maybe the next time you play a board game with friends or share a story with family, you'll remember the creativity and hope that got people through the hardest times. The fun and laughter people shared during hard times is still inspiring today. Their strength and creativity can teach us a lot. If these stories made you smile, give this a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more real history and clever ways people made the most of what they had. Thanks for joining us. See you next time for more adventures from America's past.